This man right here, Josh Jacobs, is going to be, in my opinion, the biggest bust in 2023 fantasy football. Do not draft this man. I'm about to tell you why. And we're going to break down your phone calls, take your super chats, and more. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
Show.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live!
Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Do not draft. Draft this man. Draft this man right here. That was almost a big fat disaster. We're gonna talk about Gibbs in a minute. Gibbs is an absolute monster in the making, and there's some news out on this guy being a weapon and the GM talking him up, and we'll get to Gibbs. We'll get to some positivity in a minute. But first, we are here to discuss this man right here, and his name is Josh Jacobs, Jingleheimer Smith. This guy right here, we talk about him a lot, and we talk about how he's facing 8-man fronts all year long in 2023. We talk about how he doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to be in Las Vegas. Those are all just different issues. There's different red flags all over the place. But let's take a little gander at the rushing, top 10 rushing leaders, top 5 of the top 10, but the top 10 rushing stats, and I've got the top 5 on screen, in terms of touches during a season. Top 5 touches of all time in the last 10 years, all time out of the last 10 years of all running backs. DeMarco Murray, 449. His next season, 237, 40% decrease in touches. Le'Veon Bell is a curious case because this man had 406 carries, sat out, but then fully busted. And when I say busted, I mean he had under 800 yards rushing his very next season. Christian McCaffrey, 403 touches, 76 touches his next season, 81% decline. Derrick Henry, 397 touches in a single season in 2020, 237 touches. The best result we've seen, 40% decrease. Josh Jacobs, 393 touches in a single season, is in the top 5 in the last 10 years. And the average running back is decreasing 55% off of these top 10 touches, numbers, and statistics. So the stats alone tell you that Josh Jacobs is going to decline by almost double, or he's going to divide his numbers into half. If you're talking about a guy playing a healthy season, he's going to decrease in half of his touches, half of his production, half of his touchdowns. The odds are extremely against it just based on the pure numbers. Some people say, Smitty, you always just talk about gut instinct and you don't really have a whole lot of substance or you don't have a whole lot of facts behind what you say. You're such a gut-driven man. This is all data. I'm not talking about all the intangibles, all the other things that make me run from Jacobs like there's no tomorrow. I'm running so far away from this guy in 2023, it's not even funny. I have 0 shares. I refuse to draft him. There's so many red flags, they're all over the place. And soon we'll open up the phone lines to any Josh Jacobs truther that wants to come in and talk him up. But this man is set up statistically for a massive decline due to overusage. Then you mix in the fact that the Raiders are going to absolutely be garbage. They're not going to visit the red zone. They won't live in the red zone. Davante Adams doesn't want to play for the team. Jacobs refuses to sign. And then this news today from the Fox 5 News Las Vegas that Josh Jacobs won't show up to training camp without a new deal and will hold out. This coming out today. The team reportedly has until 1 p.m. to reach a new deal. This is a new statement and stance that this man Jacobs, who, listen, you can get mad at me all you want. You can say things like, Smitty, But you just have your bias against the man. You've always hated Jacobs. I've made it no secret. I won't hide the fact that I don't like this man, because this man went out there in 2019, I think it was 2019, and tried to fight his fan base. He said, I don't care about your fantasy. He flipped off his followers, his own followers, on his Instagram stories, put up a bunch of bird emojis, spelled it out, said F your fantasy, only he was less polite than I am. And he said, screw all your fantasy, talking to his own followers on Instagram. I don't know if Jacobs didn't know that this is how it worked, but the people that view your stories follow you. Those are your followers. That's not speaking to just the general population on IG. Those are the people that love you and follow you. And this man just lost it. I think it was 2019, and said, I'll meet any of you at the stadium. Here's the address. He put it on his stories. Here's the address. Took screenshots of people saying you messed up my fantasy week. And so then Jacobs comes out. Oh, the reason he did that is Jacobs came out and said he wasn't playing. And he said it on his Instagram, and then he suited up and played, and people benched him because he did that. But boy, was the joke on him, because he had such a bad game that game. Karma got him. People that benched him because he said he wasn't playing, trying to screw with his fantasy fans, they ended up benefiting because they put in somebody that scored more points. Am I against Jacobs from a biased perspective? Absolutely. You know, he blocked me on IG and all social media because I went after him and said, this is ridiculous. You're threatening to fight your own fans, bro. And so the Raiders must have reached out to him. He pulled all of his stories down that he had up. This is a while ago. So this is the kind of guy that I've been, you could say, Smitty, you're just biasly trying to feed your narrative because he did so well last year. Nobody saw what he did last year coming, to not to the degree he brought it, but statistically, he's not going to repeat what he did. He's not going to repeat what he did just statistically, even if the offense didn't change, because the numbers are staggering. The numbers are crazy. The drop-off is 55%. When a player has had top 10 touches in a season, all time, in the last 10 years, 55% decrease. This man's getting Jimmy Garoppolo to signal call for this offense. The ball's not getting stretched down the field. This offense is punting. This offense isn't sniffing the end zone. This is not a player you want to own. This is not a player you want to own at cost. This is a player that is going to significantly drop off like everybody before him, and probably to a more significant degree, because he is no Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry and Christian McCaffrey at least had the ability to bounce back. So this is not a player you want to draft in 2023. He's not even wanting to show up. He's holding out. He's doubled down on the holdout. Saquon Barkley's gonna report. This guy might not report. This guy actually might not report. And what I was telling you that whole story about the whole, I'll fight my fans. He put the address in his Instagram. Meet me at the stadium, to 3 or 4 different individuals with the address at the stadium. Meet me there. He wanted to box these kids that were just saying, you messed up my fantasy season. And he was going nuts. Okay. Now that alone makes me feel like this guy maybe doesn't make the best decisions. But do we think he's actually going to hold out? I don't know that he won't. He shouldn't hold out. It's the benefits of a holdout are literally zero, because on July 17, he can't even get a new contract. So maybe he's just throwing out a lifeline. Maybe this is his final, hurrah, trying to say, hey, I'm going to hold out. I'm not going to hold out, but let me just say it. Let me just say it real quick. We'll see if he's a man of his word. He says he's going to hold out. He says he's not showing up without a new contract. He doesn't want to play there. Well, Smitty, why does he want a new contract then? Because either way, he's got to play there. He's either going to play there and get injured, and he probably knows with Jimmy Garoppolo commanding the ship is going to sink. And so if he goes out there and gets hurt and tries to put this team on his back, or if he goes out there and fails to deliver, he's not getting a contract at the end of the rainbow in 2023. His only choice is to dig his heels in, accept where he is, and get a long-term deal, because this is his last shot at getting a long-term deal. This is it. This is it. He's going to dig in, try and get a long-term deal. Doesn't want to be there, but it's his only move. It's his only move. Same thing with Saquon Barkley. Not that Barkley doesn't want to be in New York, but he doesn't have a choice. He's turning 27 years old for next season. Barkley's 26. He turns 27, I believe, in February of 2024. So Barkley's in the same boat in a sense, different reasons, but at 27 years old, Barkley's not getting a 3 or 4 year deal at $14 million, $13.5 million a pop. Barkley also has to dig his heels in and say, give me the long-term deal where I'm at. Even if I kind of want to go elsewhere, maybe Barkley doesn't even want to. I think Barkley's relatively happy. Jacobs said to the team, you get us in reload mode. You bring in an arsenal. You bring in Aaron Rodgers, and we're going to win. I'll sign my franchise tag. Jacobs said publicly, I will sign my franchise tag. I will sign my franchise tag if you bring in a reload type of situation, Aaron Rodgers, and we go for a championship. I will gladly sign my 1 year franchise tag at $10.1 million. Jacobs said that. Why do you think he's holding out? Because he doesn't want to play with Jimmy Garoppolo. He doesn't see Jimmy Garoppolo as reloading. It's a downgrade. Derek Carr at least moved the football down the field. This is the worst scenario you could find for an RB at his cost of entry, top of third round, mid third round. Don't go near him 2023. Stock is down. Completely Smitty disapproved.
You've just been Smitty disapproved.
And take a lap, Josh Jacobs. Take a lap. These numbers are crazy. They're eye-opening. Here's a stat. Running backs with 300 plus carries since 2010, only 5 have ever repeated the next year. That's just one small stat of the greater picture here of the 55% decrease rate. And even if you include Lev Bell's, like I said, Lev Bell here, this is the top 5 in terms of touches in a season. Even if you use Lev Bell's where he didn't do well here, he had 700 something rushing yards that next year that he played in New York. This is a disaster. This is a disaster waiting to happen. The phone lines are open. Let's ride.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Okay, so we'll open the phone lines briefly. And, well, not briefly. We'll open the phone lines for a little bit. If you guys want to dial in and ask questions about this, it is what it is. Some of you are going to be upset at this show. Some of you are going to love Jacobs. And I realize when I don't like somebody that you own on a team already, you're going to get a little bit bent out of shape. And I'm okay with that. I'm not mad at you if you're a little bit upset, but this is not the player. This is not the player to own in 2023. So what? There's several red flags on a lot of players, says Swaggy. So there's a lot of, let's see what Swaggy says. There's several red flags on a lot of players, but like I said earlier, I can see both sides of the pendulum on Jacobs. Well, you could say that there are red flags on a lot of players, but what do we say, Swaggy? You don't draft a lot of players with a lot of red flags. You could draft a player with 1, maybe 2 red flags that seem feasible, plausible, something that could potentially, work itself out, something that's very predictable. But when you're talking about a guy here with an overworked volume, injuries waiting for him, Swaggy, you talk about the statistics in general, injuries waiting for him. Doesn't matter a situation, doesn't matter anything else, injuries waiting for him. Okay? Now, if Breece Hall or Bijan gets 410 carries or 450 touches, let's say Bijan gets 450 touches this year, walking into next year, we will have some caution about our very beloved Bijan Robinson if he got 450 touches. I'm not saying we're not going to love him because he's a lot younger. He's basically in the category of Derrick Henry or Christian McCaffrey, where there could be a little bit of a decline, maybe even a lingering injury that pops up in his second year if he did take on 450 touches or something, but it wouldn't necessarily derail his career. whereas Jacobs is not the specimen, even close to the specimen of Bijan Robinson. But to be fair, there could be red flags for anybody walking into the next year, even Bijan if Bijan gets overfed. Getting overfed is the biggest indicator of potential injury for an RB, for a running back. Very predictable. Then you mix in the fact that he's a head case and has been at times, and the fact that he's just saying today, Swaggy, he's holding out. Like, he's doubling down. We'll see what Saquon says. But I have a feeling Saquon's trying to negotiate right now, doing the best he can versus coming in and saying, I'm not showing up. Saquon's showing up. Saquon's smart. Saquon's showing up because there's nothing that can be done after July 17 for Jacobs or for Barkley. Nothing, because on July 17, neither side can even negotiate anymore. It's $10.1 million locked in. The key's thrown away. Nobody can get another deal. The locked in $10.1 million stands for the entire year, no matter which side wants what on July 17. So to say I'm holding out, yeah, right, you're holding out. He's not going to hold out, I don't think. But the threat of doing it is another red flag, because at the end of the day, you never know. This guy wanted to fight his own fans. The people that actually clicked the follow button on his Instagram, he wanted to fight those fans. Bama, you're live. What's up, Bama? Harmon, mute yourself. Hold on a second. Harmon, mute yourself. You got some background noise. Bama, go ahead, Bama.
Hello?
Go ahead, Bama.
All right. What's up is I don't appreciate
Harmon's not listening. Hold on, bro. Harmon's not listening, okay. And I had to kick him off the line because he didn't listen. Go ahead, Bama. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna do this one more time. What's going on is I don't appreciate you making fun of me having when I fell asleep last night waiting on you. I'm a hardworking man that
Bama.
I got tired and fell asleep.
Bama, that's a total normal thing. When someone falls asleep on the phone line, we're like, "Are you there? Are you there?" Like, what was I supposed to do?
I know, man. I just aggravated you. I was letting my wife listen to it. She was like, "Are you not embarrassed?" I was like, "No, I was waiting on the line to aggravate him." I'm glad I did. I fell asleep and you hung up because I was going to aggravate you and say that Bijan reminds me of Justin Jackson.
Yeah, sure you were. So, sure, Bama. I know you, Bama. You know what you're doing. I know you wouldn't really believe that, but yeah. Hey, you fall asleep on the phone line. It's fair game.
Yeah, I got you. I ain't the first one I know because I've caught several shows where different ones fell asleep. But hey, my question is, I've been noticing Alexander Madison's climbing the ladder. Where's the highest you think that he deserves to be?
Alexander Madison,
yes,
6th round for me. I could see him going in 5. I don't hate him in 5, but I certainly could see him going in 5 in a lot of redraft leagues, and we see him in best ball going 5. But it's gonna be different, I think, a little bit when you get into a redraft environment. Like, I think Kamara's ADP still, I don't know, still in like the 7th round in underdog. But I believe that will update as soon as the ADP updates. But no one's forcing him that early right now. He's going in 7. Like, I'm seeing him last until 7. But the problem is, you going over to ESPN, Kamara's been going like a lot earlier anyway. Even before the last couple of days, he's been going around 5. He's been going around 4 because the suggested rank has him there. And so Madison, it depends where you're drafting, my guy. It depends where you're drafting. If you're drafting in a territory where or on a platform where the suggested rank has him really high, then he's going really high. If you draft on a platform or an app that has him suggested low, he's going low. So he's unfortunately a player that is going to be a lot of influence will be through the ADP rank. You know what I'm saying? So I don't take him in the 5th round though.
I like Madison a lot, but I would done an underdog last night, and he went in the 4th. And I wouldn't comfortable in the 4th. I'm kind of with you. I was thinking the 5th would probably be my limit, but I was a lot happier when I was getting him in the 7th and 8th, which I understand why he's going up. But yeah, that ain't no way I would have touched him in the 4th. I was just stunned. I didn't know if it was just me or what. When I seen him go in the 4th, I was like, ain't no way.
Yeah. I think I would grab him in round 6 now, but I don't think I'd take him at 5. The reason I don't take him at 5 is for the same reasons I won't take a lot of players that have been climbing to 5, like London's there sometimes. I'm drafting London like clockwork at the top of 5, especially underdog lately. Walker's going at the top of 5 like clockwork on underdog. Those are steals, man. But Fields in middle of round 5, so not touching, not even going near Madison when those guys were still on the board. So give me round 6.
I got you. Hey, I appreciate all that you do, man. Sorry about last night. I have to get up early in the morning, but I was trying to hang in there, but I just couldn't do it. I'm getting too old. You
don't have to apologize, bro. That's just the nature of the show. Like, everyone enjoys the natural, real feel of this thing. So, like, don't ever apologize for being you, Bama. But I apologize. I think you were joking. But if you did take offense, you're not the first one to fall asleep on the phone line. So yeah, it was a good time.
I got to thick skin, man. It ain't no way stuff's gonna bother me like that.
All right, appreciate you, pal.
Appreciate that.
All right, hey, Bruce, you're live. What's up?
Hey, Smitty.
Yeah.
Since you don't like my guy, Jimmy G, who's going to get a bigger decline, Jacobs or Adams?
Jacobs. I'd rather draft Adams than draft Jacobs. I'm not going near Jacobs. I have some shares of Adams. Like when I'm drafted with you guys and everybody's avoiding him because no one wants to be the guy that drafts him in one of my leagues for whatever reason. And it's okay. Everybody can do what they want. Like, no one's going to get made fun of because they like Adams in round 2, but he's like fallen to the 3rd round, like in our drafts. And, I would take him there if he fell, because what if Jimmy gets benched? What if Jimmy gets hurt? Not wishing injury upon anybody, but hopefully Jimmy's not in the lineup. Hopefully he gets benched or gets abducted by aliens safely and they return him safely. Like that kind of thing. If he's out of the lineup, maybe they bring Wentz in, maybe they make a trade. They're not bringing Tom Brady back, because if Jimmy fails, unless Jimmy gets hurt like in week 1, then there's maybe some talk about, people trying to bring that up. But like, that's it, bro. I mean, there's nothing else that's really going to be glory there at the quarterback position. The rookie could come in, but maybe he targets Adams and spoon feeds him. Wentz, like I said, could come in, and Wentz is capable of throwing downfield. Jimmy is not. So that's when Adams could have sneaky value. Could they trade him in the middle of the year? Highly unlikely, but certainly possible. Depends on what teams would take on what sort of, money. We don't really know. If a team's wanting Adams, they could maybe overpay. What if, God forbid, a top wide receiver goes down on one of these, top 5 teams and they're like, let's trade for Adams. Like, anything can happen. So there's value in Adams because he's so good. I don't think Jacobs is even remotely close to Adams's level in his position. I don't care if he did it last year. It was a different scenario. Jacobs was in a very different situation last year. I don't even think, not only was he not necessarily a player that anybody saw doing what he did, and hats off to him for doing what he did. I'll even give him a standing ovation for what he did on the field, not for who he is. No, we're not going to do that. Yeah, we will. We'll do it. We'll do it. So, production-wise, look at this man right here. Production-wise, Jacobs was a beast last year. There's no denying it. There's no denying what he did last year. But when someone tries to bring in what he did last year into the equation, when statistically what he did last year is setting him up for failure and injury, mixed with the fact that really it was an anomaly year for him, and his offense was in a great position to move the football down the field despite not winning games, despite having a bad defense. They always had a lot of field to work with because they were put in bad field position situations. They had the whole field to march down, and Derek Carr was capable of throwing the football down the field. He was capable of stretching the field, keeping defenses honest, and at that point, it's like, Jacobs is an absolute disaster waiting to happen. Hold on a second, Brucey. Harmon, you got a lot of background noise, bro. What are you calling about today, Harmon?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, Harmon, what's up?
What's up, man? I'm seeing today's topic's about Jacobs.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
So, is your take Jacobs is a bad pick?
Are you not watching the show, Harmon?
I'm not tuned in. I just see the title of the thing is Jacobs, correct? So Jacobs is a bad pick when he was the number 1 RB last year?
You clearly are just calling in to try and go against whatever it is to be funny, Harmon, or whatever. So you have a few seconds to make your case before I lose my patience with you anyway. So go ahead, Harmon. Tell us why he's such a good pick. Because last year, none of the stuff that is in front of you. You're calling about a topic where I've delivered literally 25 minutes of evidence, and now you want to call in and have me recap it for you, Harmon? You're gonna have to pull over, rewatch the show, and get up to speed before I'm gonna enter it into ground zero debate with you about Jacobs, because you missed the entire show. He left. Harmon is no longer allowed to call into the show. How's that, Harmon? So, Harmon, you don't hang up on me, I hang up on you.
Finish him. Call terminated.
He clearly is just calling in to try and, I don't know, ruffle feathers or something. Like he thinks he's ruffling feathers. All right, go ahead, Brucey. What else you got, pal?
Where is it fathomable that Trey Lance is going to go to the Falcons? Because I've seen they show interest in him. Or Trey Lance is just going to sit in San Francisco and rot.
Trey Lance isn't going anywhere. I don't think there's just there's no way I can see it happening. I can't envision the Niners dealing him away, bro, because he's literally, they're going to want the world. They're going to want the absolute world for him. And I don't think they're going to get him. I don't think they're going to get the world. I just don't think they're going to. You know what I'm saying? Like what Shanahan's going to want. They gave up 3 first-rounders for him, and no one's going to give up a single first round. So will Shanahan bite the bullet? Will he get rid of a guy he spent 3 first-rounders on and hasn't even given him a chance? Or will he say, you know what, he's going to sit on the bench? But either way, he's not going into the lineup. He's not going into the lineup. Because if Purdy's expected to play week 1, and even if Purdy wasn't going to go, they go, let's just give him a little time. Let's not rush him out there. Guess what happens? Sam Darnold marches out there in week 1.
Yeah, the best arm in San Francisco has ever seen.
Yeah. Okay, D-Class, what's up, my guy?
Hey, what's up, brother? How you doing?
What's up, pal?
And not much. I'm sitting here on a best ball draft, finding myself at a predicament that I find myself more than I'd like. It's 5th round. Well, you know what? I think I just solved my problem, actually. T-Law's sitting right there. If T-Law wasn't there, I wouldn't even know who to grab. They got people like Aaron Jones, Madison. I don't like any of the receivers. I guess, I don't know. I suppose I figured that one out by the time you answered, but.
Yeah. Hector says, Smitty side bet, Smitty Jacobs outscores Bijan in standard format. Okay, Hector, I'll tell you what. You come in, and I have a feeling you're going to vanish and never come around again. You drop a significant super chat on this channel, okay? And I'll let you choose what it is, Hector. But you know who's going to remember this? Ron Navy, if he's watching, he's going to remember this, jot it down in his elephant memory, and he's going to have this on lock. So Hector's going to not show his face again. Hector, you drop a significant super chat. If Bijan gets outscored by Jacobs, I will give you the $99 lifetime membership on the fantasyfootballshow.com, Hector. Okay, so there you go, pal.
Like there's something in the water these last couple of days. I haven't seen 2 shows like this back to back ever.
You know what it is though about Bijan is that people just don't. There's people that have doubled down. They're doubling down now. The people that have predicted that he's not going to do well, they're very uncomfortable with the fact that I'm putting distance between their take and where we are. So like they were behind going, I don't really like them, right? I don't really like them as much as you guys. That's where their take was. And once you plant that seed that you're a Bijan doubter, rock out mute if you could, or whoever's making that noise. Once you plant that seed of that I'm on the other side of this fence, and the fence gets moved, the goalpost gets moved, you feel so alone. You know, like you're here doubting Bijan. You weren't inside the train. And now the train just starts all of a sudden moving and going in the other direction. And it's psychology, bro. It's just why I love psychology and fantasy football and bringing psychology to the table is the human condition, the human mind, the way somebody works and breaks it down. They literally feel so uncomfortable that the train's moving, right? That they're like they got to make noise and say, well, this is why I think this. Yeah, you go ahead and drive off. But I'm not. Now I'm all by myself. Let me double down because I feel so stupid that I'm not on the train. You know, that's what, Hector, I'm not calling you stupid. Hector dropped a $20 super chat. Hector, I'm not calling you stupid. I'm saying the people that come in here and they try to create a ruckus, which they're not. If anybody thinks they've disrupted my show one single bit, you haven't done a thing to it. This is the way we roll. This is the way we got all kinds of craziness that happens all the time. And, you know, we appreciate it. Hector.
Alert. Super chat alert. Alert. Super chat alert.
Hector, appreciate your $20 hauler. He accepts the challenge. And you know what? Him dropping a $20 hauler to accept that makes me think Hector ain't going anywhere. I think Hector's a man of his word now. Look at that. I'm here every day. Kind of surprised Smitty doesn't recognize my name. How many Hectors tune in? A lot. But hey, that doesn't mean I don't appreciate you now, Hector. I know your name now, pal. I know your name now. Hector's the one that that had that super team, right, Hector? That nobody believed that was real. He had like every single top like 5 running back, like every top 5 wide receiver, which I do believe can happen because I've seen it happen before. I've seen people do it before, you know, collect that kind of arsenal over time with a bunch of, you know, grandmas. So Hector's dominating his league. I believe that's Hector. Appreciate you, Hector. I believe you now, and I'm sorry, Hector. I even doubted you for a second. Let me take a lap. Hector sent me on a lap. Thank you, Hector, for proving me wrong. Hector dropping the 20 wad to seal the deal. That's like spitting on your hand and extending it to Smitty. He's spitting on the bro fist. He spit on the bro fist, and then he gave me a, you know, that's during COVID. If we were doing any kind of spitting on hands, I was spitting on my fist and doing that. I'm not doing the handshake thing. Okay, so let's see here. Swaggy, I can't see that happening, Hector. Swaggy, that's the first time Swaggy and I have agreed in a long, long time. But hey, let's go to D-Class real quickly. Or am I talking to D-Class?
Yeah, he still got me.
Yeah, okay. D-Class, what do you think of Jacobson? You don't have to be worried about telling me, you know, how you feel truly, or if you're, you know, don't worry about me.
No.
Go
I'm
ahead.
not worried one bit. I have 0 shares out of, I think I'm at 160 best balls by now. So 0 shares out of 160 drafts.
Bro,
I'm not touching them.
You got a good squad, or you got a good mind for building a squad. I'm telling you that right now, because grabbing this guy in the 3rd round is just asking for disappointment. You know, like these numbers don't lie, especially when you're talking about the pedigree of the player. I know there are a lot of people who are going to say, well, Jacobs, look what he did last year. That doesn't prove pedigree. He had a really, really, really good year. And I'm not saying it was necessarily outlier type material. Like, he's a good player. He came out of college. He was sharing carries coming out of college. He never really was like the full-time guy. Came in, started suffering some injury. There's some question marks around, you know, whether he could handle the full workload. And then he did. You know, he's done pretty well, but he was a disappointment, you know, a year or so prior. It's not like he's been balling out like constantly his whole career. It was a very, very outlier-ish season. I'm not saying he didn't earn it or deserve it or that he tripped and fell into it, because his numbers were very, very amazing. But he was set up for just the best success you could be set up for in a bad situation, because the bad situation had a guy like this. Is similar to New Orleans, right? When you think about how does a bad team produce great numbers for a player, they got a gunslinger, whether he's good or bad, throwing the ball down the field. So when Winston's in there for New Orleans, as an example in the past, what did the Saints do? You know, they figure out a way to get Olave the football. They moved the football down the field. They weren't a good team, but they were able to do it. What did Wentz do? Wentz could throw the football down the field. He was garbage. He'd get replaced. He'd get injured, but he was capable of having people around him play well, which is why I think Wentz in Las Vegas would be good, you know, for Adams, at least give him some security if and when Jimmy falters. But Jacobs was in a good position because the team was always down. The team was always trying to score. The team was always forcing things, getting the football back. The defense was awful. The defense wasn't on the field for very long. The offense would get another opportunity. I'd love to know the numbers on the amount of opportunities, the amount of series that the Raiders had. They had to have been like first in the National Football League in the amount of series that they were handed because the defense was constantly just, you know, getting worked over. So I just don't see it happening, even though the defense is, and it's slightly improved, but you know the defense is slightly improved. That's not the crutch. The crutch is that Jimmy and whoever they have under center, because I don't think a rookie is going to really get it done either. Whoever's under center, unless they bring in Wentz, is not going to be able to move the football down the field. So Jacobs won't sniff the end zone near as much, and Jacobs is going to get 8-man front stacked up against him constantly. So for me, I don't even see a light at the end of the tunnel here for Jacobs. Not to mention what I've also said that applies to Adams as well. Jacobs is one of, and Adams as well, the most likely candidates to sit out when they're not even all that hurt. Because this guy is worried about getting injured and not getting his 2024 contract. They're not extending it. They're not going to give him a long-term deal. The Raiders. I mean, the Raiders are actually ridiculous enough to do it, but I don't feel like it's sensible at all. So I don't think it will happen. But if he doesn't get his contract, and he's not going to, he's worried about getting injured because what he just did, he's probably saying to himself, I mean, let's be honest, I don't know that I can replicate that. Like right here and right now. And let's blame the Raiders a little bit. I'm not going to put all this on Jacobs and say, oh, he's bad, he couldn't do anything. If he went somewhere else, I think he could have a good year. You know, he could be in a good situation where he gets fed, but he's in a bad situation and he knows he can't replicate what was produced last year in this offense with Jimmy G. Trading away Darren Waller, like none of it makes sense to him, I'm sure. And so he's saying to himself, if I go out there and produce half the production, I will not even sniff the same contract I can get if I just push the Raiders to sign me to a long-term deal. I don't want to be here, but if I push them for a big money now, it might be my last chance to ever get it. So I don't think there's any shot at him staying healthy, given that he's facing so much 8-man front action and given the statistics that are right in front of your face.
For sure. I haven't got a single draft of Myers, Jacoby Myers, but how do you feel about him? I mean, same thing.
I mean, if Jimmy's not in there, it's a different story. But how in the hell is Jacoby Myers going to get the ball? How the hell is anybody going to get the ball? How did Ayuk do? Ayuk, look, Debo talks about Ayuk being unguardable in a phone booth. Like, and we have yet to see Ayuk get to the point where we think he could get. Now, maybe Brock Purdy can get it done. Maybe he can't. But we do know that Jimmy G can't make anybody consistent unless it's a Debo Samuel role, which someone could argue, hey, Adams is going to be put in that type of positioning. And, you know, I'll see it when I believe it, because it's hard to execute a Kyle Shanahan type of system. So, and I don't think they're doing that. I know they're not doing that. But if let's say they were to, that would be the only solution. How do we allow Jimmy G to get the ball in Davante Adams' hands? But the problem is, even if they started throwing a lot of short, 1-yard slants to Davante Adams, or hey, Davante, turn around on the line of scrimmage. Here's the football. Like, he's gonna get hurt. Not to mention, he's not gonna have the same scheme to set up that play so he rips off 17, 20 yards. The Niners, I rip on Kyle Shanahan all the time, but Shanahan's scheme is amazing. It's amazing. Debo Samuel catches a football at the line of scrimmage and has an open lane for like 15, 20, 30 yards, and he's quick enough, he's elusive enough that he will then, maneuver around that traffic and take it to the house. I mean, how many times does Deebo Samuel catch the ball and you're like, how come no one can even get a hand on him? He's fast, but he's not like the fastest guy in the league. It's because of the scheme. This scheme is not going to help Davante Adams in that way. Even if people want to say he's a great route runner, he's amazing when he has the ball in his hands, it's just not the same situation. Jimmy G is going to fall apart and crumble. And he already has, because he showed up injured. And they literally said, we're going to release you. People don't talk about that. Like, he literally showed up injured, and they're like, what in the hell, Jimmy? And Jimmy's signing his contract. They're like, no. And so you need to go take a physical, takes a physical, fails the physical, and they say, you know what, we're not signing you to this deal anymore. We're going to take your bonus money away, and we're going to plug it into salary, and now you have to pass your physical. You pass your physical, you can play ball. You can play ball. That's it. Plain and simple. So Jimmy's not on good terms with the team. He wasn't on the good terms with the Niners. He wouldn't return phone calls. He wouldn't return a single phone call from Shanahan or John Lynch, his bosses. He wouldn't return a single phone call. That's crazy, bro. All offseason long, they couldn't get a hold of him. They didn't know where he was. This is your leader. Not you, but Raider fans. I feel bad. I feel bad for Raider fans. This is not an attack on Raider fans. I want Raider fans to know that. If any Raider fans are watching right now, I appreciate you. I feel bad for you, and you have a home here. I'm never ripping on a fan base. The only fan base that I think deserved to be ripped on was the waste. When fan bases act crazy at games and disrespect people like to a severe degree. Some people say the Eagles fan base did that, and no
Eagles fans,
no fan base should be. I believe Eagles fans are good fans and loyal fans, but they can be ruthless, and sometimes Niner fans can be so slanted, and there's but. It is what it is. I still love all the fan bases out there. This is not an attack on the Raiders like entire community. This is an attack on the way this organization's run. It's that Jacobs is not one of the you could say, I don't know. I'm not gonna even go at Jacobs. I'm just gonna say Jacobs is the numbers are in front of you. Numbers are in front of you. Jimmy G is not it. It doesn't mean I don't like Jimmy G. Doesn't mean he's not a good person. Although he did appear to laugh and grimace when Trey Lance went down. Just saying. He does also go up and smile after a defeat, throwing 3 interceptions or losing 2 fumbles, and he's got this big grin on his face. But doesn't mean he's a bad guy. Doesn't mean I hate him as a person. I don't hate anybody. But Jimmy G, I'm here to evaluate Jimmy G and the Raiders and Jacobs. This is a bad situation. And thank God Darren Waller is out of there. Because you know what? Darren Waller with Jimmy G, I don't want to hear Jimmy G throws to the tight end. Ask Kittle. Even though Kittle loves him for some weird reason, Kittle hasn't been productive for a while with Jimmy G. And now all of a sudden Kittle emerges with Brock Purdy. So, anyway.
You got any Kittle shares?
Do I have any Kittle shares? No. I have, I believe, 0 Kittle shares, to be honest.
Same.
Yeah.
I was just curious because you brought him up.
All right.
Well, hey, man, I'll let you go. I got this food that's getting cold in front of me. I appreciate you taking the call.
Later, pal. Rock out. You're live.
Much love.
Yeah, later. Rock out, my guy.
Yeah, what's up? Can you rate my team?
Yeah. Hold on one second. Let me pull that up real quickly.
Did one yesterday.
Okay. Hit me with your squad, Rock out. Hit me with the squad, pal.
All right, QB, Burrow, Sam Howell, Stroud.
Burrow. Hold on one second. Burrow. Okay, Burrow, go ahead.
Burrow, Howell, Stroud.
Okay.
Running back, Bijan Robinson, Barkley, Kenneth Walker, Charbonnet, Deuce Vaughn. Then wide receiver, Watson, Dotson, Tony, Guy Moore, Mingo, Rice, Tim Patrick, Dell. And then tight end, Kincaid and Cormette.
I like it, bro. I like it. Burrow, Bijan. What did I write here? Barkley.
Barkley, Kenneth Walker, Charbonnet,
Yeah, I like
Dupont.
that. I like that. That's definitely a team I build a lot where it's like heavy RB. Let people hate on the wide receiver room a little bit. That's fine. I like it a lot, bro. It's a solid squad. Solid squad. What do you think about Jacobs?
Yeah.
What do you think about Jacobs?
So what?
What do you think about Jacobs?
I don't like him this year.
Yeah, Brucey, do you like him, Jacobs? I mean, you can't. Oh, Bruce hung up. Bruce, call back in.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Bruce, do you like Jacobs?
I'm 50-50 on Jacobs.
Yeah.
I'm
I
not too high on him, but I'm not too low on him.
I don't blame anybody for loving what he did last year. Like, I understand all that. I get it.
And that's the only reason I love him, and it's not because of what he did last year. I like the screens that they might put in for him, like the halfback screens
that they may have in previous years. I don't know, bro. We'll see what Jimmy does. I know you love Jimmy. I do
love Jimmy.
Yeah, you do.
I got a question for you. Which one do you think is more likely to sit out, Barkley or Jacobs?
I've already said that on this show and my previous video. I think Barkley's signing a deal. I think that's going to come in the next couple days. Make sure you watch that video. And I think he's too smart to say, like, what good is it? Like, explain to me, Bruce, what good is it out of principle? Like, what good is going to come from sitting out when the July 17th date passes? Because you can't force the team to give you a long-term deal anymore because the NFL rules the way that franchise tags work. The deadline is July 17 to work out a long-term deal. And if July 17 comes and goes, you get locked in no matter what both sides want on July 18. On July 17, Jacobs and Barkley cannot make a single dollar over $10.1 million. They're locked in on the year. So in the case of this, it's more of this is my final attempt to bluff and say I'm not coming to camp if you don't give me a contract. He's the one that just said it as of today. Barkley he's given mixed messages. He hasn't ruled out a holdout, but or a complete holdout. But he also is saying things like, "Look, I don't want to break records. I just want to be compensated fairly." And the fact that Barkley is looking at, Barkley's looking at. I think that this is the. So here it is. Barkley is being offered $13 million a year, including $26 million over the first 2 years, and Barkley's seeking 16. The thing you gotta look at, bro, is that Barkley is getting a deal here. I don't even know what Jacobs I don't even know if the conversation's being had right now between the Raiders and Jacobs. Whereas Barkley, the team wants to sign him, and so you gotta ask yourself, if you're sitting there, if you're in Barkley's shoes, and you think you deserve $16 million per year, are you telling me you're going to walk away from $26 million in the first 2 years when you're a running back and you're seeing the value that Dalvin Cook does not have? You're seeing the value that even DeAndre Hopkins doesn't have. And you're seeing Mixon get threatened to be released, and you're Barkley and you're turning 27 in February. This is a no-brainer. This is why in my previous video I said that Barkley's going to sign the deal. Barkley's just trying to get the highest offer. He's pretending like at a car dealership he's going to walk away from the table. But Barkley, I believe, this is from what I've heard and just my educated guessing of the situation and all the variables, that Barkley's going to walk back to the table in the 11th hour or before and sign whatever contract they have. Because you know what he can do is say, look, I know you can't do $16 million a year like I want. I know you want to give me 13. Make it 13.5. Or make some sort of bonus, $3 or $4 million signing bonus, or up at $1 million in signing bonus. Give me an incentive. Give me a $2 million. Make 13 go to 16 if we win the Super Bowl. Like who the hell knows what kind of incentive Barkley could ask, but you can always go in there and say, look, give me something performance-based so that I can get what I want because I'm going to get it. And so I think they at the end of the day, Barkley's not going to walk away from an opportunity to make this amount of money when he knows that the running back climate's not changing based on what he does. This is like the crossroads for a lot of people. They think if they take a stand here and do something that it'll make a change. I don't think it'll make a change. Even if Barkley sat out the entire season, what's going to come of it? You know, no one's gonna go to bat for you and say you sat out. You were being offered $26 million over the course of 2 years. People out on the streets are going to say, what? Like, you think I'm going to feel bad for you? The running backs do not get taken care of like other players, but it's still a $26 million over the course of a 2-year contract. And we don't know if it's a 3-year deal with a third team friendly deal. And it's really just, he gets guaranteed the 26 over 2 years. And then if he produces well, the team could bring him back. But you can't walk away from this money, get paid $10 million and expect at 27, watching what's happened with Cook, watching what's happening with Eckler with his own team, and expect to get paid like absolute bank. It could work out for him if he goes out there and let's say he balls out, bets on himself at $10.1 million, balls out, gets his $10.1 million instead of 13, right? $3 million difference. Gets his $10.1 million and then inks his $26 million deal. Therefore, he's getting $36 million instead of $26 million. Certainly possible that it could work out for him. I'm not saying it can't, but when you're a running back and you could get injured and you've already had a torn ACL and you've already went through that comeback and you've gotten back on top, do you know how scared he is of going through that again? Like if he tore another ACL, to get back on top would be near impossible. He's got to take the $26 million. I don't know that Jacobs is getting even offered something that makes sense for him to it's not the same scenario. So to answer your question, very much more likely to hold out Jacobs. But I don't know that either would actually take it that distance. But if anybody's capable of it, it's Jacobs. It's totally Jacobs, bro.
Okay.
Marsman,
Hey.
rock out. What else you got?
Hey, Smitty, what do you think about Aaron Jones this year? You haven't really talked too much about him.
Aaron Jones. Let me move Gibbs out of the way, and we'll put the topic of the day on screen. Aaron Jones. I think Aaron Jones is a decent value if you're getting him in like give me a couple scenarios. Like top of 5, no thanks. You know, Bruce, we'll see you later, pal. Top of 5.
6th round?
I'm sorry?
6th round?
6th round, I don't mind it. I think I'd take him in like 1 out of 10, 12 underdog leagues, maybe 15, maybe 20. So, 10% of my leagues at most. So if I do 20 drafts, I'll take him in 1. But that's me not avoiding him, I guess is what I'm trying to say. If I said 0, that would mean he's like a bust to me at his ADP. Because I would take him, that means I don't feel like he's a bust, but I find myself 19 times out of 20 doing something else. I probably have very low percentage of exposure to Aaron Jones in my underdog drafts. Underdog Fantasy, we're drafting tonight. Promo code Smitty, link in description. I'll drop the link right now in the live chat. But would love to have all you draft with us tonight on Underdog Fantasy. Promo code Smitty. Here's the link right there. Do it live. Appreciate you. So Aaron Jones, I mean, where would you take him?
Probably middle 6 or end of 6.
I think some people would take him at 5. I think someone would take him at 5. I don't think 5 would be crazy, but I'm certainly not doing it. I pinned that link, Underdog Fantasy guys.
Where do you got him? With Swift and Kamara.
Steven gifted 5 YouTube exclusive memberships, by the way. Steven, to the moon. If I missed any of those others, let me just check real quick and see if anybody else gifted. Steven gifted 5 memberships. Steven, I appreciate you doing that. I'm sorry, what'd you say, Rock Out?
I'd say how you grade him with Swift and Kamara.
I mean, I think they're pretty neck and neck now. I think before, obviously I liked Kamara more at his cost because Kamara was going in 7, 8, 9. Underdog, he's still going in about 7, but I think that climbs to 6. I think it slowly climbs to 4. So I feel like they're probably around the same territory now for me because I would grab Kamara in 7. I would. I'm still grabbing him there, but Kamara's definitely climbing. He's definitely climbing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I definitely feel like Swift is probably as risky as Kamara at this point. Doesn't mean I don't like both of them. I think Swift and Kamara are both really, really fun players to own, but they come with about as much risk as they do upside. So the teeter-totter of upside and risk is even, just balancing like this back and forth, and you don't know which side's going to crash down, to be honest with you. That's the nature of Swift and Kamara. Kamara wasn't that way. Kamara had all upside. That scale was smashed all the way down on Kamara before the news broke that there was no felony charges and he was getting charged with a misdemeanor for disrupting the peace or whatever the hell it was. That's insane. And he's probably looking at, I would guess, a 1 to 4 game suspension. If it's 4, then that's as significant as we really predicted. All the last handful of months, the last 4 months, it's like he's probably getting a 2 to 6 game suspension. So if he got 4, that would be right in line anyway. But there's a chance he gets 1, 2, or 3. But Swift, I mean, he could get injured, but I really, really like Swift a lot. I think, this is the number 1 offensive line in the National Football League. They got the best defensive line in the National Football League as well. And so the defense is going to set the offense in good field position. And I absolutely just think Swift is going to be a fun player to watch for good or bad.
Yeah.
Blake, you're live. Blake, you're live.
What's going on?
What's up?
Just got into the stream. Just wondering if you could catch me up real quick on what's been said.
You'll have to rewatch the show, bro. I can't go back on the whole thing. That's an hour's worth of content. But basically, Jacobs is a huge risk walking into 2023, Blake.
I completely agree. They're going to stack the box against him.
Yeah, I mean, look at the numbers. Numbers are right in front of everyone's face. DeMarco Murray in the last 10 years, 449 touches, top 5 touches for running backs the last 10 years. Jacobs is number 5. And if you look at the top 10, or if you look at just the top 5, 55% decrease in production. Cut it in half, more than half. Cut it more than half, bro. That is what is expected of Jacobs, to have more than half of his touches cut in, into that 55% territory. That is crazy. The numbers alone don't lie on that. And the fact that he's going to have a worse offense with stacked boxes and a quarterback that can't throw more than 12 yards down the field, there's just no upside here at 3rd round value. Not when you're looking at are we really going to draft Jacobs over Jahmyr Gibbs? No. The answer is no. Not on our watch. Not in this community. Not with Jahmyr Gibbs headed to the moon. What else you got,
Yeah,
Blake?
I completely agree. Smitty, what do you think about Najee Harris this year with upgraded line?
Great, great 4th round pick, good 3rd round pick. No way I'd take him in 2. Just, that's just the territory scale. There's nothing wrong with that. That's not me saying I hate him. I love him in 4. I like him in 3. I don't draft him in 2. Certainly wouldn't draft him higher than that. But Najee's got upgraded offensive line, no Liz Frank injury. I mean, there's a lot to like. Defense is fire. Volume should be there. Jaylen Warren's not taking the job from him. Let's be real. He's a change of pace back. So it's his job. And I think they feed him a lot. The only concern would be is if he gets banged up again and Jaylen Warren gets in there and grabs he's not taking his job, but he grabs a big chunk of work that keeps Jaylen Warren busy, then and you don't get the volume that Najee Harris needs because, I mean, the data tells us that and again, data's not everything, but it does tell us that he needs volume. When he gets volume, Najee's great, but he needs volume. And so I don't think Najee's going to go out there and be an efficient monster on small workload. So that would be the one concern.
Yeah.
You like Swift?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Travis, try again.
He's all right. You said what?
Travis is trying to call in. Travis, try again, bro.
I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Swift. He's all right, but I do think Rashad Penny could take quite a bit of the workload. Swift, he's super yards per carry efficient, but I think Rashad Penny, when we're looking at his yards per carry in Seattle, I think he was a big part of it, and I think he'll be almost just as good as Swift in Philadelphia. I mean, Swift, if you can get him in the 9th, late 8th, I think that's fine, but I just don't really like him in the 7th.
Yeah, I hear you, bro. There's a lot of players that I really, really like in certain areas, and I don't, push comes to shove.
Yeah.
I just can't take them higher. It doesn't mean I don't like them. Another example of that would be Barkley. I did a show on Barkley earlier. I love Barkley in round 2. I don't think I'd take him at 8 overall. Even though I think he could be a top 5 running back, I love Barkley in 2. I like him in 1, but I like other players better. So that's kind of the same thing here. Love Najee in 4, like him a lot in 3, but love him in 4. And basically I love him in 4 enough to say every single time I'll try and get him there. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to snipe myself on a player that I think I could get in 4, if he falls. Yeah. But do I take Walker? Yes, I take Walker all day long over Najee. But that's because I love Walker. Walker to this community still has the ability to be what we thought he was going to be before Charbonnet landed in Seattle. And there are people in this community that say Walker's the number 1 RB. He's my number 1 RB. Walker was going 15 to 18. He was a steal because he was a first rounder to us and he went in round 2. So I think the drop down to round 4 or 5, and Walker's going at 5.1, 5.2, 5.3 all the time. I'm getting him as my 5th drafted player, almost like clockwork. Not every time, but almost like clockwork in underdog drafts right now. And that's in all the formats. I thought it was just the weeklies that he had fallen, but these new slow puppies, I've been getting him in the 5th round as my 5th drafted player. It's crazy. And I just, that is a guy that, especially if you cuff him, boom, bro, that's it. But it doesn't mean I don't like Najee. Doesn't mean I don't like, same thing with Swift. Everybody's got a line in the sand. This is not specific to one player. My line in the sand for Swift is round 6 right now. I wouldn't take him at 5. I wouldn't take him at 5. I wouldn't take Pacheco any higher than mid 5, but I really like Pacheco in 6. I almost don't take Pacheco in 5 at all. And I love those guys. That's their ADP. I wouldn't take Burrow in 2. I want to take Burrow in 2, but I wouldn't because I feel like I'm sniping myself. You know what I mean? I don't want to take Burrow in 2 because that's sniping me when I'm trying to take Burrow in 3. Or 4. And even in 3, I don't want to snipe myself of taking Burrow in 3 if I think I could get him in 4. And it's all about that pre-rank list, man. Marsman Ron Navy. Marsman Ron Navy is live. Ron.
Yeah, I just got into the stream. What's been going on for the last hour?
We've just been talking about Jacobs. We've been talking about how, I don't know if you've seen the news today that he's saying that he's going to hold out. The news report from Fox 5 News Las Vegas that as of today, Jacobs won't show up to training camp without a new deal and will hold out. And so with the Monday deadline of July 17th, looming, this is a very, very hardline stance, and it's just another reason to be I don't trust Jacobs because, and I got the data up here, Ron, that's just staggering. It's crazy. He has had of the last 10 years the 5th highest touch total season, and then you look at the numbers, and the drop-off rate is 55% decrease of the previous year's touches coming off of a top 10 total touch season for an RB. So it's like all these things are just, I just wanted to come out here and beat a dead horse on this topic that Jacobs in the 3rd round over a guy we just talked about, Najee. Like, I can tell you right now, Ron Navy's taking Najee Harris over Jacobs. So, like, Jacobs has no business being in the 3rd round. There's Gibbs is there. Burrow is a better pick there, even a little early. Najee's a better pick there. Jacobs is just not a 3rd rounder at all. Not my book. What do you think, Ron?
Yeah, I don't have much of Jacobs at all. I'm usually taking my like if I take Bijan, I'm usually getting a decent receiver in the 2nd, or there's other players that I'm picking up over Jacobs anyway. So some people like him, and I'm not going to begrudge them if they like him. I mean, he is a talented runner, but he has a lot of flags. Kamara has a lot of flags, but I hope he does. I hope he goes way up in the ADP, because if he goes way up in the ADP, that means the player I want is going to be there more than likely, because somebody's taking Kamara way up in the ADP.
Yeah. We got Scared Scott on the phone. Scared Scott.
I just want. Hold on a second.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to update it.
Okay.
I know you already know, but
yeah.
The results for the Weiss test, it didn't come back like we wanted it to. What happened was there was a mass in her lung, but when she had the scan, it's also in her liver, and so she's ready to battle it. We're both ready to battle it, but it's a worse situation than we originally thought it might be. So she's going to have to do surgeries out, and she's going to have to do chemo and radiation therapy. But she's got to get a scan, an MRI of her brain, because they want to make sure it didn't go up into there. So keep praying. Appreciate all the prayers that it doesn't go up. They don't find anything there, and then she can battle just the lung and the liver parts. So
yeah, prayer emojis, guys, please, for Ron and Miss Navy. Sorry, Ron.
No, I mean, she's trying to keep a positive attitude, and so am I. And all we can do is she's gonna fight it. So, and I'll be by your side. We'll fight it.
Yeah. Prayers up for Miss Navy and Ron, guys. Drop them in the chat, please. But Ron, let us know if you need anything.
We're with you, Ron.
Yeah, let us know if you need anything, and hopefully we can keep your mind off it a little bit as best we can. In a positive way. I know you.
It is. She likes reading her book, and so she's trying to stay occupied that way, and keeping her mind off of it as much as she can. And I'm doing the same thing. So. It's in God's hands. So, and if you're out there and you don't believe in God, it's okay, but I believe in God. So, don't take offense that I'm saying God, because it is in God's hands as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about offending anybody on that. Yeah. So prayers up, and Ron, let us know if you need anything.
Will do.
Jeff, I'm sorry I missed your super chat a while ago. Jeff, you still here? Jeff said, number 1 pick overall, PPR bonus points for TDs out of position. Would you take Bijan for TDs out of position? Meaning that if you catch a touchdown, then Bijan gets extra points. That is a great. I mean, Christian McCaffrey has a lot more value in that. It's just a matter of if you think he'll stay healthy, but he's going to catch a lot of touchdowns. I would say Bijan, bro. In that situation, I would say Bijan. Yeah. Because I think he catches 4 or 5 touchdowns. So I probably would take Bijan. If it's a redraft, though, you can't really go wrong with taking Chase at 1 or JJ at 1. I mean, PPR, especially if it's 3 wide receiver sets, and not overthinking the out of position bonus. Because what if it's not that significant? What if JJ runs for 2? What if Chase runs for 2 touchdowns and Bijan gets you, 3 or 4 touchdowns? Not that crazy of a difference. So I think the smart play is probably Jamar Chase or JJ, whoever you think is your number 1, overall player. But I do like Bijan at 1-2 in that format to get touchdowns outside of position. Thank you, Jeff, for waiting. I apologize for the delay on that, my guy. Thank you so much. A lot of prayer emojis for Miss Navy and Ron. Appreciate you guys. Crazy how some people will take last year's top running back Jacobs until... It's crazy how some people will not take last year's top running back Jacobs until after 3, and us fantasy owners yell at the real owners to respect running backs. I understand your point, but we have a lot of evidence and reason to avoid a player. We're not going to just take a running back to respect a running back's position. Like if I feel a running back's going to fall off, then he's going to fall off. This is a different argument for Saquon as it is Jacobs. So Atlanta, just to kind of go at your claim here, I wouldn't pay Jacobs. I'm not asking Jacobs to get paid. I wouldn't pay Jacobs what Jacobs is wanting because I don't believe that he is the guy that he thinks he's going to be this year in this situation. If I'm the Raiders, I would not pay him a boatload. I wouldn't have even franchise tag Jacobs. If I was the Raiders, I would have said, you know what, Jacobs, let's let him go get his. He's earned it. What are we going to do? Pigeonhole him in this situation so he can lose all of his value? Like, I don't think people really know the positive stance I took on Jacobs at one point was in a way supporting him being a free agent. I said he did earn it. He did earn his ability to go get a payday, and the Raiders grabbed him and they franchise tagged him. They held him in place. The players, the entire National Football League, all the players pretty much assume that that Jacobs, or that the franchise tag is the prison tag, and so Jacobs got tagged and held in place and was deserving to go test the free agent waters to see what he could get, and they franchise tagged him, which is the team's right. It's within the confines of the rules. I'm not saying the team necessarily did anything wrong, but from a perspective of what are the Raiders really looking at, are they going to win a Super Bowl? Do they really believe they're Super Bowl contenders with Jimmy Garoppolo? Like, I wouldn't have franchise tagged Jacobs. I would have said, go, young man. Go let him fly. Go get your contract. You deserve it. Go get it. Instead, they franchise tag him, hold him in place, and he's completely frozen in time, and this is his opportunity going down the trash can. So that's why I understand Jacobs wanting to hold out. I do. Just because I disagree with the way he handles things off the field and all that doesn't mean I don't understand, the different angles here. So Atlanta, I don't think he should get paid bag because I don't think he's that player, but I do think Barkley should. And so I don't know. I think I understand what you're trying to say, but I just wanted to tell you there's 2 different angles still there. Like, I don't think Jacobs should get paid. I didn't think Kyler Murray should have got the bag in Arizona, and I'm a Cardinal fan. You know what I'm saying? We got Scared Scott on the phone. Scared Scott.
Well, first of all, I just want to tell Ron I'm sorry, and I'm praying for him and his wife. That kind of puts a sobering outlook on this stuff. Anyway, I'm reading where Kyle Murray had his big interview yesterday and talking about wanting to get back and is pushing for it. And it kind of sounds like he might be on track to get back week 1 or maybe week 4 or 5. Marquise Brown's going at wide receiver 30 on underdog. That increases value at all?
So what I would say here, Scott, is that I don't know that I believe what you just said you saw, because Kyler Murray might not play the entire season. I think that there's a shot that, I think he feels that he hears and sees all this Caleb Williams rumors. The Cardinals want to, take a dive and try and get the number 1 overall pick. Look, the Cardinals could have the number 1 and the number 2 overall picks in the 2024 NFL draft, because we have the Houston Texans pick, and I'm not saying that they're going to be the worst team. I'm just saying we have a shot at it. And Vegas predicts that the Cardinals will have the number 1 and number 2 overall pick. So, like, I'm not just like I'm throwing this out there because there are actually people suggesting that this will happen. And so
it's a real possibility.
If the Cardinals get Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr., first of all, I'm going to be to the moon. Like, that is going to be insane. But this has got to all worry Kyler. Now, Kyler could get traded, and I don't know if he has a no-trade clause in his contract. I don't remember if he does. We'll have to look that up. But a lot of players don't want to just be shoved somewhere without, having a say. And Kyler Murray could get traded. Now, that's a big contract to trade, but he's a big-time quarterback, and he's still very young. So there will be a suitor or two that will take on the Kyler Murray contract. But if the Cardinals get the number 1 and number 2 overall pick, I believe they're going Caleb Williams. And Kyler probably is worried about that and wants to get on the field and try and put together something. But the Cardinals are going to be extra careful with Kyler, no matter what Kyler says, in order to protect their trade asset if they do, in fact, intend to trade Kyler Murray. Now, if Kyler is way ahead of schedule and can actually play by week 3 or 4 and be very healthy, maybe the Cardinals do try and win this year. But they got rid of Hopkins. Like, that is a clear sign, and the clear vibe here in Arizona is that they're really looking to 2024. So I don't know that they want to win games in 2023. But we'll have to see. To answer your question, I mean, Hollywood Brown's okay. I've got him in maybe 1 out of every 200 underdog drafts. That's it. Maybe 1 out of every 200 or 300 underdog drafts. That means I'm not like calling him a bust. I'm not avoiding him, but I very rarely, in my memory, I think there was one time I drafted Hollywood Brown at cost because I just can't find the value when he's on the board and other players are sitting there right around him, and I'm like, give me Dotson. Give me Dotson all day long over Hollywood Brown. This is not a good situation.
Well, Hollywood Brown also has the same problem Deontay has, and they got concrete hands at times, and they drop the ball and they don't catch it. That's the problem with both of them.
Yeah, and Michael Wilson, I think, is probably the best wide receiver on that roster. Now, you're not going to see that right away. He's a rookie. He's got a rotation of quarterbacks to go through right now. We may not even know what he's doing until week 15. You know what I mean? Like, we might not see what we want to see out of Michael Wilson until week 15. Let's say the Cardinals get the 1 pick and the 5 pick, and they can't get Marvin Harrison Jr. Michael Wilson's got to the moon. Michael Wilson could turn into T. Higgins, though, if they get Marvin Harrison Jr. and become capped, or, whatever wide receiver you want to use in that kind of situation. But Michael Wilson...
You don't see the kind of target share that Marquise Brown was getting while D-Hop was out on suspension last year to continue this year.
I mean, bro, who's throwing the football to him? Colt. I mean, what? I mean, he's actually done okay. He's actually done okay. But the Cardinals got rid of Hopkins. That I know they didn't have him at the beginning of the year. But like Colt McCoy with no Hopkins, with a very much diminished offense, with a guy in James Conner who I think is very overdrafted, or at least the expectations extremely high for him, I think, comparatively to the other players around him. This guy's not going to live near the red zone. What does James Conner do best? Scores touchdowns. James Conner's not going to run for 1,400 yards. He's going to score you 12 touchdowns if he's near the red zone, because the Cardinals do love to feed him. But the Cardinals won't sniff the end zone near as much anymore. So, like, how is James Conner going to get his value back? And he's a big injury risk. So I'm staying away from Conner. The only Cardinal I like is Michael Wilson. It's the only Cardinal I like walking into 2023. I can't wait till I can say something different about him. If the Cardinals get Marvin Harrison Jr. and Caleb Williams, this might turn into a Cardinal show. And it's never been even remotely close. I have no bias towards the Cardinals.
Let me ask you, this is my first round strategy in these redrafts. I think it's pretty strong. It pretty much is Chase, because I agree with you. I like Chase more than Jefferson simply because of the touchdown numbers. And obviously they're close in talent. So I pretty much go Chase, Jefferson, Bijan, and Kupp. And the reason is in these redrafts, Kupp's fallen to 8, 9, 10 in redrafts. And Bijan can get back to that number 6 to 8. Of course, the first ones are 1, 2, and so that's kind of the order I'm following. If I get way back in the redraft, like position 11 or 12, I start looking at some combination of something like Diggs and Wilson.
Speed it up, Scott. I'm not even honestly, Scott. I forgot what was going on here. you got to go a little faster.
I was just sitting here. My first round draft picks are sitting in this order of Chase, Jefferson, Bijan, Kupp.
Okay.
And kind of if I end up back at 11, 12, it's more of a Diggs, Wilson, Diggs, St. Brown, that kind of thing combination. That's pretty safe, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah, we could have got through that a lot quicker, Scott. I'm just gonna be honest with you. We got to work on your speed of delivery. I feel like you're having a conversation with somebody over with a beer.
Depends on the time of day.
Yeah. Like we're sitting down like on the ranch porch, and you think I got all day.
Yeah.
All right, Scott. Hang tight. Scott's got thick skin. I don't think Scott can feel a thing. Scott, stay right there. Hold on. All right, let's go on over to who else is on the phone line here. And Ron, if you got something, just interrupt us. Yusuf, and then we got Steven on the phone. Yusuf, what's up, my guy?
How's it going, Smitty?
I'm good. What's up, Yusuf?
So I was drafting the other night, and I was really wavering over Pollard and Chubb on who to draft. And I know you're not necessarily high on Chubb, but I think it's like a good debate because I didn't know who to go.
Pollard or Chubb? I'm not against that debate at all. I think Chubb. My only concern with Chubb is that he had 0 rushing touchdowns during the final 6 weeks, right? Watson played 6 games, right? During the final 6 games, Watson came back. Chubb scored 0 rushing touchdowns when he lit the league on fire in terms of rushing touchdowns beforehand. So, I guess you could say, don't chalk that up to anything, but at the same time, like Watson did get in a groove in week 16 and 17, right? And Chubb didn't score a rushing touchdown. So, I mean, we kind of have a little bit of concern, and not to mention Chubb has a lot of mileage, and that drop-off will eventually happen. And just the question is, do you want to be left holding the bag? But I don't mind him. You could say Pollard's coming off a broken fibula. They're changing the offense. But, there's a lot of red flags all over the place, like we talked about earlier. But I take Pollard, but maybe 2 or 3 times out of 4. And then I take Chubb maybe 1. So that's not me hating Chubb. I'm drafting him.
Yeah.
I've drafted him in probably probably 1 out of 50 underdog drafts. I'd say I draft Chubb. Maybe 1 out of 80. And that doesn't sound like that sounds like a disrespectful number, but again, my point is to highlight that it's not about me hating Chubb. It's about me finding different players that I love every single time before Chubb has to be taken. But then if I get put in a certain situation, Chubb does end up on top and looks like that didn't sound good. Pause. Chubb ends up on top, one time out of 80. And this episode's sponsored by Viagra.
Top shelf Chubb.
Top shelf. Salty dropping a $10 hauler. Let's just put him smack on the moon right now. Appreciate my boy Salty. Salty said, I just wanted Scott to take a lap, honestly. Okay, Salty purchased this for $10. I'm giving it to him. Scott, take a lap. Thank you, Salty. Appreciate you dropping that $10 hauler Ron, what are your thoughts on Chubb? On Chubb? You feel the same way? Like, you're not against him or anything, right? But I don't know that I've seen you draft him a lot either. I think you might be in the same boat. You're not against him, not for him. Just kind of like.
No, I'm not against him. I mean, he has the ability, but what's concerning is, you know, he got off that awesome fire start last year, and then as soon as Watson got in, he just went downhill. They weren't using him. The scheme changed. So unless they go back to a scheme where they're using him like they did at the beginning of the year, I have a little bit of doubt about, you know, how much work is he going to actually get and how efficient is he going to be.
Yeah, here's his. Let me go to his game log. His game log is crazy. Like, when you look at this,
He did.
It's insane.
He did get a receiving touchdown though with Watson.
He did.
I feel like this year. Yeah, I feel like this year, like with no Hunt, I really think he could like set career highs for receiving too. Because I saw a report the other day that said like they're looking to use him in the passing game too.
Yeah, but
if you like him, take him. You know, if he's your guy, take him. I mean, he's not going to be everybody's guy, but if he's your guy, then take him.
Yeah, neither Ron or I are down on him like significantly, but I think we're finding ourselves never like frequently drafting him because the other players are just staring us right in the face. But look at this game log. Week 1 is at the bottom. Okay, week 1's at the bottom, and in the final week at the top against Pittsburgh there. So look at this. I mean, he started off week 1 with no touchdown, but he had 141 yards. Okay, not going to complain about that effort. Look at that. That is a fantastic start to the season. 141 yards on 22 carries at 6.4 a pop. He was ripping them off. Okay, 3 touchdowns in week 2. 1 touchdown. 2 touchdowns. 0. 1, 2, 1, 0, 1. Absolute glory. Houston Texan game. Remember, that's when Goodell said, "Oh yeah, this is a fair little punishment for Watson. Just make sure he comes back on the 4th of December to play the Houston Texans." Freaking corrupt NFL. So here he goes. Chubb, 0 touchdowns, 0 touchdowns, 0, 0, 0, straight down the board. Now he did have 99, a 92, a 104 game. So to be fair, in his yards per carry were actually really good. I mean, 4.7, 2.4, but that's one game. 4.7, 3.8, but he had 92. 7.4, 6.4. 6.4 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Ravens, he had that 4.7. I mean, these are good. This is it's still a good effort, but to Ron's point into what I said a minute ago, 0 touchdowns, like, this will only get you so far. If you're scoring 5 touchdowns on the year, yardage is only going to do you so good. And yeah, he did catch this touchdown right here in week 18 or whatever. But I mean, I don't know receptions. I mean, he had 1-1-0-3-0. So it's not like he's going to be spoon-fed a bunch of receiving work. And I don't know that the departure of Hunt really has anything to do with it, my guy. Because Hunt is, according to everything we've heard, has fallen off, and they really like, you know, their backup running back stable, and if anything, they're going to use those guys as much as they used Hunt, you know. So I don't think it's going to give anything back to Chubb, to be honest with you.
That's true. True.
But hey, like Ron said, trust your gut though, because I still like him in round 2. I mean, you know what I'll tell you? This would be my final thought here on this. This right here concerns me drafting him in round 1 to an extreme degree, but he's not going in round 1. You know, so like my concerns are kind of not alleviated, but again, it depends who's there.
So would you consider him like a top 8-ish running back, or are you taking guys like Ramondre over him?
Yeah. I mean, no. See, that's the tough part. Is like, if you ask me, will Ramondre outscore him? I think he could, but you draft Ramondre in round 3. You know, you draft Gibbs in 3. I'm not drafting Gibbs over Chubb, but I want Gibbs more than I want Chubb. So I'd rather trade down or go wide receiver. I'd rather take St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Jalen Hurts if I want to go early quarterback. I'd rather grab one of those ballers in round 2 instead of Chubb And I guess that's my point, is I find myself saying, let me maneuver out of running back in round 2 here, because the wide receivers, Hunt, Kareem Hunt's on my mind. Hurts in round 2. Garrett Wilson or St. Brown, depending on if you're in a grandma league, they'll fall to the top of 2. It just depends where you're drafting. But like Chubb, Barkley, I'm drafting Barkley over Nick Chubb. But do I think Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet and a wide receiver in round 2 is a better opportunity? I do personally, but that's just me. I could be wrong. Let's keep Scott on that lap. Salty wants to send Scott on another lap. I'll tell you what. Every time Salty pays, I'm gonna send him on a lap. It's worth it to me. And then we got another super chat. Rock Out says $5 holler. I'm a cancer survivor. Wow, Rock Out, you're a cancer survivor. Got it when I was 15 years old. So I'm rooting for you, Ron, Navy, and your wife. Prayers. I didn't know that. Rock Out. Is Rock Out still on the phone? Rock Out?
I don't know, but prayers.
Yeah.
Rock Out.
I didn't know that. I mean, that's appreciate that. I'm Ron Navy. I'm sure does too. But wow. Prayers up.
Hodgkin's disease.
You what?
I had Hodgkin's disease.
Oh, well, prayers up to you, man, and I'm glad
Tell
that
you what,
Glad you beat it.
glad you smashed.
way
it.
to fight, man. Way to fight.
Rock Out smashed the hell out of it.
Stephen wrote in there that his mom's dealing with it too, Stephen from Florida. So prayers up to your mom, Stephen.
Stephen, prayers up to your mom.
Your wife as well. And like I said, we're all in this together, and we're doing everything we can to fight like hell. All we can do.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
Hey, Stephen, what do you got while you're there?
I want to talk just for a minute about Caleb Williams. We were having a little bit of a conversation in the chat about this next generation amazing player, and I don't see it. And I'm going to give you 2 reasons. Well, actually, one main reason. But first of all, the Pac-12 sucks. He's got no competition over there, and he looks good and everything. And then he goes to Utah, and Utah waxes him, and he looks horrible. And then he comes back, and then the second time he goes up there, he paints F Utah on his fingernails. Okay, now who does that? That's not a winner to me. That is a huge red flag. That is ignorant, and I think he's a bust. Plain and simple.
What do you write on his fingernails? What made you run away from
Utah?
F Utah. Okay.
Caleb
Well,
Williams.
I mean,
Oh,
that doesn't really do
Stephen,
much
we
for me,
all
Steve.
done stupid things when we were young, though. I mean, hey, look at Josh Allen, right? He made a remark back in high school or whenever it was that was considered racist, and he went through that part of it. And I mean, he's turned out good, and he's got his teammates love him, and
I mean, look.
So we all do stupid things when we're young.
Yeah, I mean, Stephen, like
And that's fine.
Look,
but every big game he's in, he is just absolutely crap.
but hold on, let's focus on one of the red flags at a time. Let's focus on the F Utah red flag.
Yeah.
I mean,
Let's do
look,
that.
hey, look, Stephen, I don't know what the rivalry is for him, but or how important the rivalry is to him. But I went to ASU twice, and I could see myself writing that about U of A on my fingernails. Does that make me a bad person?
You wouldn't do it. There's no way you would not do that. No.
I mean,
not happening. That's crap.
What makes you think that wouldn't happen?
Oh God! Now here comes another bet. Somebody's going to bet somebody, and somebody's going to have to write something stupid on their fingernails, isn't it? Here it comes.
Well, I mean, here let me.
Everybody was 18. What?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. So looking at this board right here, this team right here, right here, you guys see this team?
Not yet.
We got to wait for the delay to catch up.
Yeah, right here. This team that was this Rockout's team right here.
I gave you a team earlier.
Hello?
Yeah,
think that's my team.
This one right here? This team?
Yep.
Look at his fingernails.
That's it.
Okay. Anyway, back on point. Let's go ahead and talk about the other red flag, the real red flag, Steven, that you think is there.
What besides painting fingernails and Chubb?
Yeah. Do you really don't like Caleb? So what? Are all the scouts wrong? Is everybody that's watched this kid? I mean,
I don't know. He could be the greatest thing ever. I have no idea, but I just don't believe it. I just don't believe in him, and I don't know. I just don't think he's got the stones for it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, there have been bigger players that have failed, I think, that have come out before, so it's not like I'm not going to sit here and blast you for saying you think Caleb Williams will bust. He's still got to play.
That's not very nice. I see your hand on the screen now. Now that's just wrong. Now what are you doing? Yeah, but it's sure as hell not permanent, is it?
Steven, you got to have a little fun in your life, Steven. Like, you never had college rivalries, bro? Like FUA? Like, who cares? Like, I'm an ASU guy. Like, I'm going to think that. That doesn't make me a bad person. Doesn't make Caleb a bad person because he wrote F Utah on his fingernails. It's rivalries, baby. Didn't you steal the mascot or toilet paper your rival school in high school, Steven? I mean, that's just right.
It's a man thing. It's like, it's weird. All right. Whatever.
I'm sorry I weirded you out, Steven.
Paint stuff on your fingernails and get hyped up about a football game. Come on. What?
Take a laugh,
I'm a leader
Scott.
in the locker room. I'm sure you are. What else are you painting over there when you're playing around in the shower or whatever you're doing?
Steven.
Don't even get started on it. Don't talk to him about Chubb.
Steven doesn't like Caleb because
he wouldn't draft him if he figured out who he was.
Steven. Okay, let's move on. If anybody else feel that way about Caleb Williams, I don't. I mean, I don't know that he's the next elite quarterback yet. I want to watch him play another season. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with someone. I don't necessarily believe Steven is correct at all. Like, I like Caleb a lot, but I believe that there is reason to, like, let's see if he keeps on course and let's see what happens. And then we go from there. But like, Steven, I mean, everybody's saying this is the next potential Joe Burrow. And I'm just telling you, like, I will wait until after the season's over before you cast too much judgment, because he's got a lot of improving to do. You're kind of painting a picture.
Go and watch the reruns of the 2 Utah games.
Let's not go and watch reruns of the 2 Utah games. Let's watch him in 2023. And if he doesn't deliver, then we'll definitely have a conversation on our hands. You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough.
Yeah, but I don't hate your take, and I didn't send you on a lap because of it. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, we still need to see him play. He could go out there and play garbage football. If he goes out and plays garbage football, then you know.
Well, he's not going to play garbage football because he's in a garbage division or conference. The Pac-12 is horrible, man. It's terrible. I don't know what's worse, the Big 12 or the Pac-12. I'm not sure. I think I'd rather have the Sun Conference or whatever the hell it is.
That doesn't mean it's not coming out of these smaller, weaker conferences, though.
I don't know. Maybe I'm biased. I've never been a huge USC fan anyway, so it doesn't bother me when they suck.
Well, Steven, I would say you definitely sound biased against him, bro. But I think you need to watch him play a year before you start casting judgment. Real quickly, let's end this conversation because it's going nowhere. Let's go to Mike. Mike, you're live, and then Salty.
Hey, Smitty, I got a quick question for you about, because you got me on to somebody that was one of your Mars men, and I want to ask you a question about Joe Burrow. Is one of the reasons that you're so on Burrow this year is because the Bengals lost a lot on defense?
No.
Is that anything to do with it?
Well, Joe Burrow is like I don't know. I mean, Joe Burrow's been on my must draft Moon Man best quarterback in the making. You know, eventually he could be the number one quarterback in the National Football League in my mind. That none of that's like wavering. Like that's all. That's been a staple for me. They've improved their offensive line. Jamar Chase was injured last year. I think Chase delivers a 14, 15, 16, 17 touchdown season this year, which means in turn Joe Burrow is going to have, I think, a 40-plus touchdown year, which is, I love the over on his 32.5 touchdowns on Underdog Fantasy. Promo code Smitty. Go do those higher lows on Underdog. They're absolutely fantastic. But, no, I mean, Joe Burrow's, look what they're doing. They're improving every single year, you know, and they're the bolster the offensive line. And you don't know that their defense is going to be worse at all. They could be much improved. Every year, everybody counts out their defense. And look what their defense did 2 years ago in the playoffs. They stepped up big time. You know, they stepped up big time against the Chiefs. They get no credit. The defense gets no credit whatsoever. And I know that you need Joe Burrow to throw a lot, but they're improving. They're slowly improving everything across the board. But no, it has nothing to do with necessarily the defense, but it's all a piece and component. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I remember, if I remember correctly, I think they lost Jesse Bates and their other safety. I can't remember what his name was, but yeah, I was thinking about that because I've been realizing if you get like an early pick and you want Chase, you really have to reach for Burrow in the third round of these underdog drafts. You know?
I don't know that I agree with that because I get him all the time in 4 and 5, bro. I get him in round 5 sometimes.
Yeah, he's been getting sniped for me. I've wanted so many doubles. I get Chase and Higgins, and I always try to get like cute in the third round, and I never get Burrow.
You know what's funny is it happens when you're least expecting it to. Sometimes just drafting a bunch of these $5 puppies. You join like 4 or 5 slow drafts. The slow drafts I find he falls more than in the live drafts, which is weird. But now that you mention that, because in all the slow drafts I'm getting him around 4. What, Ron?
I got the Chase Higgins combination, and if I get that combination, then I'm grabbing Burrow early to secure that stack.
Yeah.
I'm grabbing him in the third round. Every time I'm grabbing him in the third round. Even though I know it's possible to get him 4th or 5th, I grab him in the third.
And there's nothing wrong with doing that because, like, you know, if you grab, like, who are you going to grab in the third? If you don't, you still could sometimes get, it depends on what draft slot you have, but you could sometimes get, like, you know, Gibbs or Watson or London, and you still get Walker somehow. You know, like it all works out. Just take the best player available. Burrow in round 3, there's nothing wrong with Burrow in round 3. I've done it before. I don't take him at 3.1, but if I'm like at 3.7, 3.8, 3.9, I'll take Burrow if I feel like, okay, he's like the 4th ranked player right now, and I'm just afraid you got to look at what the other teams have. Like Ron said, if someone's got Chase and Higgins, or if someone's got Chase in between your 2 picks, you know, they might stack it. You know, if no one's got Chase in between your picks, then you can maybe float Burrow a little bit later. So all of it's very contingent upon who's got what, you know, what the board looks like. So you just got to play it by ear.
I mean, I was thinking about Burrow. Burrow's going to Mars and beyond this season.
Yeah, he is, bro. He's going to have a 40. Wouldn't surprise me if he ran for 300 yards, had 2 or 3 rushing touchdowns as he becomes a much better runner than people ever anticipated. And it's because he tore his ACL and he was coming back slowly from that. But he could run for 300 yards, 2 or 3 touchdowns on the ground, and throw for over 40 touchdowns. And like I said, Chase is going to catch, if he stays healthy, he's going to catch 14, 15, 16 touchdowns. I think Jamar Chase is going to have a magnificent season. 1,515. Like, that's what he could do. I really enjoy, in 100 receptions plus, obviously, 1,500 yards, 15 TDs. Number 1 receiver per.
I know there'll be 2 games where Burrow's going to the turf more than he's going to Mars.
Maybe.
That's exactly right. I'm a Ravens fan, and Ron Navy is a Steelers fan, and we have. I take offense to that. We're going to knock Burrow out anyway. He's not even going to finish the season.
Steven, I'm taking away your Bijan card for that.
Yeah, you guys got to chill on that.
I take away your Bijan card.
No, I'm not.
I take away. Hold on, Steven.
I'm
Ron
not
St.
wishing Burrow injury.
Yeah. I'm taking
I'm
away
saying-
that Bijan card, number one, because, Steven, you don't even like the Ravens.
The Ravens are my team.
Yeah, but you earlier, you said you don't even want Lamar Jackson on
Oh,
the
I know where
Ravens.
you're going with this. Well, that's what I'm saying. We had a talented enough team. If he wanted to keep screwing around,
Touche.
then I was happy to roll with Snoop and be done with it.
Touche. You love the team so much you didn't want Lamar there, but now you can't be a Lamar fan. You can't come in here, Steven, at all in 2023 and say a single thing about Lamar Jackson because you said you'd rather have Tyler Huntley than Lamar Jackson. What?
All right.
You got to take away his card.
I took away his Bijan card for that.
What is a Bijan card?
It means if you believe in
What does it do?
If you believe in Bijan Robinson, you get the card. If you don't, you get it revoked.
I believe in him, but I don't know that he's going to be the number one overall back.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
Anybody you've ever spoken to, their Bijan card is revoked.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
Your ancestors, everybody. Okay.
Damn, that's a lot of cousins, man.
Yeah. All right, let's go over to hold on 1 second. Is Josh still here? Was he wait? Josh was waiting and then he bailed. Josh, call back. Salty, you're live. Salty, thank you for all the super chats, my guy. You want me to send Scott on another lap?
Yeah, let's send him on his mile.
What can I do for you, Salty? Appreciate you, by the way.
Honestly, nothing. I was just calling in. Finally got off work in time to listen to the show, and I'm just laying on the couch enjoying. Keep doing what you're doing, bro.
Attaboy. Appreciate your super chats. Appreciate your support. And what do you think about Caleb Williams? Are you in total disagreement with Steven? I almost called him Scott.
I'm a believer of Caleb Williams. I think next year he's going to come in and he's going to, do what a lot of people are expecting him to do.
You know, it doesn't offend you that he wrote on his fingernails?
It's weird, but people can do what they want.
There you go.
Steven writes him off because he wrote on his fingernails. Talk about no level of forgiveness.
Who cares?
He wrote F you on his fingernails. You know why he wrote F you on his fingernails, Steven? Because the camera is going to often show, him holding the ball, whatever, and it's going to be on camera, and he's trying to make a statement. And I know that you don't believe in the statement, but maybe you don't believe in me from this point moving forward,
Just
Steven.
be
But
clear,
I would have done it.
It wasn't just FU, it was F Utah. Just to be clear.
Okay, F Utah. I would
yeah,
do.
That
I
covers
would do
all
that.
5 of your fingers, right? Is that 5 letters?
I would do
That's
that.
5 letters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's gross.
But I would do that.
Because it doesn't show. It shows immaturity, and it just shows shallowness.
It's gross. He says it's
What?
gross.
Bro, that's the funniest. Oh my god.
But the
Man,
funny
you got
part
a funny
is
take on that.
the funny part is he's gonna bust because of that, according to Steven. That and a couple other.
He
reasons.
automatically sucks as a football player.
He wrote on his fingernails. It's not like
He wrote on his fingernails.
What's funny?
Not enough fingers for I Love Chubb.
What's funny,
come on, Steven.
is the fact that Salty's laying on his couch, sending Scott on laps.
Yeah, Salty's sending Scott on lap after lap after lap. We might have to
I'll
start.
do it again if you want, bro. We'll do it again. We'll get
we
him into
can't-
that second
We
mile.
can't. I need to send Steven on one lap
We're gonna do it again?
for not liking Caleb Williams
we're
because he
gonna-
wrote on his fingernails. So we're gonna send Steven on a quick. There you go, Steven. You're on a lap. You go. What else we got here? Salty. Anything else? Any other players? What about Jacobs? How you feeling about Jacobs? Do you agree? You can
I hate
disagree with me.
Jacobs.
Okay. Why do you hate Jacobs?
I hate Jacobs this year. I'm not a fan. I'm completely avoiding him. I didn't like him last year, and I totally think last year was a fluke. I told everyone I was off on him, and he popped off. I had to eat that, but I'm not. Fool me once, whatever. Can't fool me twice. He's. I don't believe in him at all.
Yeah, I'm just not. I'm not on the Jacobs train at all for all the reasons I've already mapped out.
Imagine me. If Swift goes off, I'm going to have to eat that one.
Yeah, but there's reasons to doubt him. There's reasons to doubt him. And I don't think anybody should feel bad that they got Jacobs wrong. Nobody knew he was going to do what he did. Like, go find one analyst that had him ranked in the top 5 running backs or whatever, top 4 running backs. And even if they did, there was no signs that it was going to happen, you know? So it's like, that would have been like a form of like fandom, you know, if they did have him that high. Anybody that had Jacobs doing what he did, just they were a Raiders fan. And it's like wearing the mullet so long while it's out of style, and the mullet comes back in style, and you still happen to have it on, and people are like, "Bro, nice mullet," you know, and you're like, "Yeah, I've had it the whole time," you know, like that. That's
a great metaphor.
Yeah. So who else we got on the line here that hasn't spoke yet? I think let me just check real quick. We got Yusuf. What else you got?
Make Stevens lap longer.
Okay, did Salty drop another one? Make Stevens lap longer. Salty dropping a super chat. Steven, here you go.
I love it. Yeah. You run that
all the
lap,
way
Steven.
through. I played it all the way through, Steven.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I said. Damn, man, I haven't finished the laps from last week.
Yeah.
Right? Give me a chance.
Oh, man.
All right, that boy dropping a $5 hauler. Steven, lap extension. You get another one. That boy says, take a lap.
It's another one.
Oh, my dude's about to be losing some pounds pretty soon here. He's running.
Steven's taking a bunch of laps. Steven, any other?
I've been trying to eat better.
Any other crazy
And then
takes?
they open a freaking Five Guys like literally right around the corner. It's like, gee, thanks.
Five Guys, it's so their prices are crazy. I don't go to Five Guys. It's not worth it.
I tell you what, the burgers are good though. I know it's pricey, but they're good.
All right, Yusuf, what else you got?
Is right there. I do agree, Steven. I do.
What else you got, Yusuf?
Not much. I just want to say I agree with you 100% on Jamar this year. Like, I think he could. I think the line you said 1,500 and like 13, 14 touchdowns. I think that's very accurate.
For who?
Jamar Chase.
Oh yeah. Jamar's gonna have a day.
Yeah,
You know,
I think like for sure he's top 2, number 1. Like, I think like he's gonna break out this year for sure. I agree with you on that.
I mean, he's a number 1 in the league in yards or points per target, fantasy points per target. So it's just a matter of, you know, staying healthy,
Yeah.
which, you know, somebody could say that's their concern for him, I suppose, you know, especially saying like, is the hip completely healed? But you know, I don't have any reason to believe it isn't, but definitely he has to stay healthy for sure.
He's not gonna keep up with JJ's 2,400 yards this season.
That's a lot of yards, Ron.
It's doable.
Okay. Anybody else? Because we're going to be drafting tonight, I might wrap it up here and come back. So we have 170 people in here. If you guys want to do a quick speed round, I'm going to jump everybody off the phone line, do a quick speed round Q&A. Rock out. Final thoughts. Go. We'll be back to draft.
Are you going live on YouTube or Instagram on Saturday?
All on YouTube. I mean, I might do something on Instagram throughout the whole weekend for sure, but I'll be live. I'll be live, you know, Friday at 7 p.m. like normal. I'll be live on Instagram during my dinner. I'll go live during my dinner when I'm eating at Bill the Tickler's restaurant, where he's bringing 2 steaks and mashed potatoes to Miss Smitty and yourself and myself, and we'll be eating those. I'll be showing everybody, you know, the dinner. So make sure you're following me on Instagram, The Fantasy Football Show. Then I go back and I do my midnight live stream. You what?
What time are you leaving tomorrow?
Really early, like 5 or 6 in the morning. So So I'll be going live a little earlier tonight so I can get done a little earlier. So that's why I'm going to hop you guys off the phone line. So rock out YouTube. We'll see it tonight on the show Drafting Live though. We'll do a draft or two. Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. Link is in the chat. Link is pinned in the live chat. Link is in the description of every video. If you want to draft with us tonight, hit that link. Do a minimum of $10 as a first deposit. They'll double whatever you do. So make your first deposit wisely because they will double it if you're new. So rock out. I'll see you there tonight.
Okay.
All right, later. Salty, final thoughts.
F Utah.
Yeah, F Utah. See you, Salty. Appreciate you. I don't have anything against Utah, but Steven got really mad at Caleb Williams for writing F Utah on his fingernails. So we might make that a staple here on the show. I might have to do that more often. Yusuf, final thoughts.
I appreciate you, Smitty. Good work, man.
All right, later, pal. Ron Navy, prayers up to you and Miss Navy. Everybody, please drop some prayer emojis in the chat and let us know if you need anything. And any final thoughts?
Yeah, I appreciate everybody putting the prayers up. That's greatly appreciated. Love y'all, and you know what, Stephen, if you're offended by that, you'd be really offended. I mean, I don't know if you'd ever if you'd work out in the Navy, because we do some crazy things that would probably offend you, especially during the Army-Navy game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you'd put that on your fingernails for the Army. I mean, like that's just like, it's like U of A, ASU, the rivalry is crazy. You know, people, that's just nothing. That's nothing. That's a silly reason to not like a player because he wrote on his fingernails. You know, crazy. All right. Appreciate you all. I'll see you later, Ron. Any other final thoughts?
Nope. I'll try to get in there tonight, and I'll catch y'all later, and have a good night.
Later, Ron. Guys, hit that like button. Let's do a quick speed round. So ask your question. Keep it as fast as possible. I will be skipping short, or I'll be skipping long questions. So if you write a paragraph, I'm not going to be able to get to it. Let's go into Q&A speed round mode. Where's my speed round button here?
It is time for the speed question and answer segment.
All right, here we go. We're going to do 5 minutes here, speed round. Actually, we're going to do 4 minutes. 4 minutes because I got to run and we'll be back to live draft. 4 rounds, speed round. 4 minutes, speed round. Let's go. Bearded Steve, $2. Trey Jamar and Dalvin for Amon-Ra Bijan. Yeah, give me Amon-Ra Bijan, bro. I mean, because arguably Bijan and Chase are equal, right? And then you're going to get Amon-Ra St. Brown for Dalvin. So that's one of the easiest questions I've been asked in a long time. That's a smash, bro. That boy, appreciate you. Salty, appreciate you. Any chance we could see the Moon Man list? Is Matthew, you still here? I'm sorry about the delay, Matthew. Salty, appreciate all your super chats. Corey Burns. Corey, you still here, bro? I did, for some reason, those two didn't come through until right now. Corey, are you still here? Bearded Steve, appreciate you. Let me restart the speed round real quick. Matthew, any chance we can see the Moon Man list? Here's the Moon Man list. Matthew, you still here?
The Moon Men, dropping loads in outer space.
Those are the Moon Men. Look at them. Look at them. Thank you. And Corey dropping. Corey Burns dropping the $20 hauler. I'm gonna celebrate you on the way out the door, my guy. Appreciate you. I'm gonna put that right there. B-Rob Bijan number 2 overall. Yes. Traded Jamar Chase. Got that one out of the way. Okay, Matthew. Any chance we can see the Moon Man list? Got that out of the way. Okay, here we go. Bijan or Tyreek. I'm going to say Bijan by a mile. J-Max. By a mile, but that's me. Fields or T-Law. Give me Fields, but I love both of them. Corey, super glad you're still here. Sorry about that delay, and thank you for the super chat. I'm gonna do a little money celebration for you in a second. Watson, Gibbs, Burrow in the 3rd round. Give me Gibbs, then Burrow, then Watson, but it's very, very close. Watson or London. Give me a split on that. I think in 2 drafts side by side, I go 1 and 1 and 1 on the other. Dalvin Cook top 10 with the Dolphins. Maybe in a couple, like 4, 5, 6 games or a fraction of the season he could, but on the season I don't think so. Burrow or Lamar, give me Burrow all day long in the same round but the difference is Burrow goes in 4 a lot of the time. Lamar goes in 3. And so definitely at the cost of entry, Burrow crushes him, but I take Burrow over Lamar all day long if I had to. Thoughts on Pollard over under 1050? I would say probably over, but that line is a little tougher than you would want. Barkley or Pollard? Probably go Barkley, but I love both of them. I'd probably split it, to be honest with you. I'd go 1 and 1 and 1 and the other. Appreciate you. So, yeah, Pollard in one league, Barkley in the other. I want both of them. Goddard or Pitts? Give me Pitts. No, give me Goddard for safety, Pitts for higher risk, higher reward. Where does Hopkins land? I think Hopkins probably goes to the Titans if I had to guess. They seem to be the guy that that seems to be where the guy's going to go, and they're the lead dog candidate at this moment in time. But that could change with the wind. I had F your couch on my goalie lacrosse head in college, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't know why Steven's so bent out of shape over that. Tua or A-Rod? Give me A-Rod. Tua, I don't think Tua lasts the year. Rank these guys: London, Ridley, Watson. Probably Ridley, London, Watson. No, they're probably even. Like, they're so close. Those are like 3 identical values to me. And I want to mix it up. Like, that's where I do mix things up. I don't have to take the same person over and over. With certain players, I do put all my eggs in one basket. I'll take Bijan all day long. But London, Ridley, and Watson, I want a share of each one of those guys. If I had to rank them, I would probably say Ridley, Watson, London based on situation. You know what I'm saying? Debo or London. Give me London most of the time, but I do think there's a time to draft Debo. You know, Etienne or Stevenson. Give me 1 in one league and 1 in another. You guys are asking very similar values of people. I like that. Keep 1, 0.5 PPR 10 team Amon-Ra 6th round Pollard for a 10th. Probably Pollard for a 10th unless wide receivers are hard to come by. Because you can still get a great player in the 6th round. The 10th round is very dry. So I think your team could be overall better. What week is Breece Hall fully unleashed? Probably week 7 or 8. We see him like back to his old self. But that doesn't mean he can't get like 70 total yards and a touchdown in week 1. And 100 total yards and no touchdowns in week 2. And in a great game in week 3, and an okay game in week 4, and an okay game in week 5, and then boom, he's just back. You know, or he could be back in week 1. We don't really know. Najee or Aaron Jones? Give me Najee all day long. I like Aaron Jones, but not where Najee's going. I like Aaron Jones in like round 5, maybe, but Najee could go in 4. Draft on sleeper. Probably not sleeper tonight. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But we're definitely doing underdog. Appreciate you all. Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. Make sure you hit that link that's pinned in the live chat. If you want to draft tonight, hit that link. $20 holler.
Alert. Super chat alert.
$20 super chat.
Appreciate you, Corey, dropping that super chat, my guy. Corey dropping that $20 holler. Beard dropping that $5, and Salty dropping his super chats. Matthew, hope you're still here. And Matthew got to see the Moon Man list. Matthew, thank you for dropping that super chat. I'm sorry about the delay on that. I'll see you guys all tonight on Underdog Fantasy. Well, here on the YouTube channel, but we'll all be drafting on Underdog. The link is in the live chat pinned. It's in the description of every video. If you missed the link in the live chat and you're like, dang it, what was the link? It's code Smitty too. You download the app, you put code Smitty in when it asks you, or you just hit the link in any description of any video I have. And that's all you got to do to draft tonight. I'll see you all tonight. We're drafting tonight. Peace out. See you guys later.